we're saying that the audience may not necessarily be particularly well versed with the ins and outs of the kitchens. Maybe they don't have a huge amount of experience. So basically, it means that the recipes can't be too complicated. So if you're an experienced cook, you're not going to find anything new here necessarily. But given our experience, yeah, so with the Elder Scrolls cookbook, I was really quite impressed. We did, I'm going to say 9 recipes out of this last week, and all of them were very good. And they're not all simple stuff. They're not all just like pour it out of a can. There was quite a bit to it. And, with all that said about it, like trying to keep it simple, there was actually a few times where it made me think about different combinations of spices. And I'm pleased that I've got this book. And if you're an Elder Scrolls fan or a gaming fan, I would recommend this as well. So, based on that, we're going to move to World of Warcraft. So, New Flavors of Azeroth is 2019. This is a follow-up to her first one. I'm pretty sure. That's right, I remember this, it didn't have the publication information in the front. But it is newer, so it includes the, got Pandaria, we've got Shadowlands in here as well, so it is up to date, 2021. Okay, so very recent. So we'll start off real simple, and there's a couple of recipes in here that I wanted to use simply because I had a lot of the ingredients. We're moving into autumn here in Australia, so we have an abundance of root vegetables. So the root veggie stew. This is basically a vegetable stew with soba noodles mixed into it. Straight up, not a complicated thing. We're going to make the stock from scratch. I have so much celery from a regular viewer that's just donated a whole bag of vegetables. So we will do that. We'll start the stock, and then to go along with it, Deepearth root straws. So these are kind of like puff pastry, bready bites, basically. Cool idea. I like the patterning on them. Mushrooms, balsamic, walnuts. In our case, actually, I'm going to use pecans because I don't have any walnuts. But yep, that's a good side, I think, to have with a soup or a stew. And then, just looking in the liquor cabinet, we'll try these Briartinis because we just got some more gin. And I need to finish using the vermouth. Raspberry jam. We might even use some plum jam that I've made, depending whatever comes out of the pantry first. So that's the battle plan. And that's all there is to it, really. So we're gonna kick off, and we're going to make some stock, vegetable stock. If you've been around on this channel for a while, you'll have seen this before. And you'll also be aware that it never follows a particular recipe. The good thing about vegetable stock is you can just use whatever you have on hand, and I kind of feel like a broken record at this stage, but it's I've heard people, I've seen it on YouTube and cooking shows. People struggle with the fresh produce because you get a bunch at the start of the week, and by the weekend things are looking pretty sad. This is probably, and especially if you're not composting for your garden, this is probably the best thing that you can do with it rather than throw it out. So let's just jump over and get a pot on. What am I gonna? And this whole thing needs a clean. But yeah. So in my case, I'm tending to split up, for the compost, some for the chickens, some for the garden, depending on which looks more hungry. Oh, Vibo, the big Bebo vomit. How are you? It's been a very long time. Good to see you. I was actually genuinely thinking about you the other day, because we're coming to the US. We're not coming to Florida, so we've sort of altered our plans a bit, because originally, we were going to come to Orlando. We got grounded. Shelley's got some good stories about her getting grounded and losing internet access back in the day. So that's that's tough. I never really got grounded too much. Not to say it didn't happen, but I guess it's just a matter of how well do you hide what you're doing. You did get a boyfriend, that's exciting. Is his name Corey? I don't trust guys called Corey. It's like, that's a sus name, I've always thought. No, it's not Corey, okay. Well, that's good. Because it would have been a problem otherwise. What else? What else is a crap guy's name? Well, that's nice. Is he any good at cooking? I suppose at your age, maybe you guys aren't at that stage yet. Oh, he is. Oh, well, good. Corey and Bebo, the best of friends. It's important. I was thinking the other night, actually, like how much of a difference cooking in a relationship actually makes. And sharing food, obviously. You can't cook, but you will soon be able to, because you've been in and out on this channel for many months, so you should at least know something by now, if you've been paying attention. Well, that's good. Yeah, no, it's weird not having the internet. Forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, is he a gamer? And what do you play? Because I don't know if you're here at the front, so we're cooking World of Warcraft dishes this evening. Probably next week. I'm wondering if I can get I've been meaning to do some Star Wars. I can't remember who mentioned it in chat a couple of streams ago, but there was a Star Wars Galaxy's Edge cookbook, and I figure if I'm not going to get to Disney this time around, may as well do some Star Wars cooking here. Oh yeah, Fallout. Yeah. Might even be a Fallout cookbook. I'll look that up. Cool. So I played Fallout. Whoa, jeez. I kind of, you think so, like Fallout, Mass Effect, Final Fantasy would be, these sort of bigger games. I've played a lot of games in my time, but I've never started on. And to be honest, actually, I haven't played a huge amount of Elder Scrolls. I have played Elder Scrolls, played some Elder Scrolls 3, played some Elder Scrolls Online, some Oblivion back in the day. It's just so much to play. Just Alexa 10, welcome. What brings you here? Pho. Pho is one of my favourite Vietnamese dishes. Well, you should get on that, Bebo. Alexa, are you here for the Warcraft? Or did you just click on this channel accidentally? It's been known to happen. And actually, so just a curious monkey, excellent. Do you stream yourself, or you're just here to watch? Because this is a stock, the carrot ends. Actually, no, they're pretty sad. I was going to say can go in. Normally they can. Bebo doesn't like first-person shooters. Bebo, so I'll guess and say that you're a Candy Crush fan. Would I be right in saying that? Oh, carrot away. Not at all. Oh no! Perfect angle. Cheers. I was a few minutes late because I'd managed to. It's a long story. Yeah, camera angles for cutting is. I do watch cooking streams. I jump onto cooking streams every now and again. I'm like, it's hard getting good angles when you're cooking. It really is. So I can assure you that this did not happen overnight. Actually, while we're on there, let's see how fast we can chop a mushroom. Hazeltari, welcome. What brings you here? I was hoping to see some WoW players. I have many friends that are World of Warcraft players. I don't play myself. I have in the past. I actually played in the beta before it was released. What brings you here? That's starting to smell really good already. Hazel likes cooking streams. Excellent. Well, you've come to the right place. These past couple of weeks we have been doing gaming themed material. These, so this celery is picked from the garden. Have just a huge amount of it. Pumpkin is going to go into the stew. This is from the garden as well. So I try and do as much. In fact, we'll go out to the garden shortly and grab some herbs for the stock. But I do try and use as much from the garden as I can. Here's actually going back to what I was saying before. So if you've got fresh produce that's going old, it's a bit sad. So this is some old parsley, old flat leaf parsley. Not enough leaves for me to, this is perfect for stock. Just parsley and celery in stock. You can't lose. Throw it all in there. And the stems especially, actually. That is going to be a winner. Alright, so Bebo doesn't play Candy Crush. I'm running out of options. Hazel, so first one, so this week we're doing... did I just lose my connection? No, I'm still here. We're cooking from the official cookbook. So tonight, there's so much good stuff in here. Tonight we're doing the Deepearth root straws. and we are having them alongside root veggie stew, and then we're going to mix up some Briartinis, so it's like a berry martini essentially. I hadn't played for a while, Hazel. It's been, I just don't have enough time. And all my friends are like so far into the game that I can't really ever catch up. So, yeah, what's to be said about it? I'm more of a retro gamer. Oh, that cooking, oh, that whole thing is screwed up. To reset that. Yeah, but the garden I love. I enjoy gardening. I'd like a bigger garden. What else have I got left? I've got corn left. I've got beetroots. Sort of herbs all year round, woody herbs. And we've just had a ton of tomatoes. Got bees and chickens as well. So, and thank you for the follow. Oh, I just saw that. So for those who are just joining us, what we're doing here is I'm actually making a base vegetable stock. So this is for tonight's stream, but it's also for the rest of the week. And then celery leaves, just so good. The thing about celery is, and this, you know, being, it's just such a burst of flavour, and there's a saltiness to celery, which makes it ideal for stock. So, we get that in, and at this stage we're just softening the vegetables, just essentially just heating them up. Okay. Yeah, I mean, limp celery, nobody's having a good time. But fresh celery. So when I was like a infant, apparently like all I would eat was celery dipped in peanut butter. Like just as a baby, like I would have, not a baby, I don't know, when do you start eating solid food? Anyway, it was so much of a problem that Mum took me to the doctor, because it's like, he won't eat anything except for celery and peanut butter. We worked through that though, it's all right. Now we could try and go out to the garden to pick some herbs. Let me just grab my tripod. I'm trying to remember what the hell that word was. And in the meantime, The doctor said, oh, I don't remember because I guess I was like 4 or something. But probably something like, he'll get over it. Bebo's not had it. Sorry, and peanut butter. It's a really good snack. So we'll just get this on here. Okay, look, do you guys want to go out to the garden? The Wi-Fi is all right. Sometimes the picture gets a little bit like pixelated, but we could if you want, because we do need to go out and grab. So for this I want, what do I want? I want sage, I want thyme, I want bay. Let's see what's out there. So let's see if I don't screw this up. There's not much because so I'm in Australia, whoops, and it's getting pretty cold where I am, and so a lot of the garden is now finishing up. But all right, so we'll try it. Where's my little herb basket? All right, let's stick with me, and if this drops out, we will return, but we should be okay. Off we go. So, what's new? Here, actually this is cool. This is a pomegranate sapling. So I will be planting this in a couple of months' time, because yeah, that'll be awesome. Oh, hello. We have chickens. Hello. So the white one is Dottie, and the two others are Violet and Veruca. Hello, chums. How are you going? Hello. And then over here, the bees. It's pretty cold. They've gone to bed already. Too cold for bees. But yes, we'll let these guys out shortly, and they can have some grass. And then this stuff down here is actually stinging nettle, and even though it is a weed, I'm letting it grow because it makes a really good soup. All right, so these are the beds that are now finished, done. So everything is pulled up. The corn. This has been a winner this season. We've got quite a lot of corn out of just this one little spot. Down here we have the cutest little watermelon you've ever seen. It's not going to get any bigger than that. So maybe on Thursday we'll harvest it and taste it live. And then here, Americans will call these bell peppers capsicums. These will need to come out before Thursday because there's a frost coming and it's going to whack them. So that is that. Here we have the foxtail and some beets that are still left down here. And then for the herbs, this is my bay tree. Yes, hello bay tree. So we'll get some fresh bay, maybe 5. And then in here, which is currently being swamped by this stupid snake grass stuff, but this is thyme. Thyme, you always want that in a stock, I reckon. So we'll start with that, and then we go here, and we have some rosemary, yes, and then sage. Sorry, sage as well. We'll take another one. Oregano, and then chives. So that currently, and this is my olive tree that is pretty new. This is its 2nd year, so it has produced fruit, but not a huge amount. Then up here, apples. And classic Canberra autumn evening, basically. It's actually a really quite nice day. Well, hopefully this is actually streaming, because that's a nice view. So we're going to get our first raspberries. Our first -5 day pretty soon. Sorry, -1 day. Back into the warmth. The lights have gone blue. Joe DNS is here. Hello. Well, good to see you. I'm glad you made it. Sorry, I couldn't see anything that was happening before, because I don't have I can't see the chat out there. Thank you very much for the gifts. For those who are new here, I can recommend checking out Joe DNS. He was playing a Ratchet and Clank before. And then, actually, because we were talking about the challenges of setting up a stream, I was like, yeah, I've got this sorted. And then I came out here and this camera just wouldn't connect to OBS. So, why does this happen? So, you're never safe from the gremlins. But anyway, so I hope that footage actually came through. Yep, that's right. Joe has come through with what he threatened. Very much appreciated. Absolutely. Hashtag small streamers, I think they call it. Hazel, excellent, good. I'm glad. Sometimes I just put the cameras out there and just do like a day stream of just the chickens and the bees. But no matter how I set up the cameras, the chickens always just decide to just not get in front of them. Bebo, no, not going to eat one of the chickens. No. So therefore, there's a American breed there, Wyandottes, really quite small eggs. They're kind of like, well, they're pets primarily, and they just happen to produce eggs as well. So no, we won't. Yeah, guys, if you haven't, jump over, check out Joe DNS. He does games, and he is slowly building his streaming practice into who knows what. So we got bay, we have sage, we have rosemary, and we have thyme. We've talked about bay a couple of times recently on the stream, and I just don't understand recipes that say put 1 bay leaf in. There's no point. So here's 5. These are all going in to the stock. Joe's a generous man. Joe is presumably the only the only person here who actually has experience in a real kitchen, in a professional sense. And it is his experience, along with others that I know that have reaffirmed my decision not to work in that industry for a living. Peppercorns and salt is what we'll add to this. So this is going to be like 6 liters or something. Whoa, that's too many. But say like 10, 20 peppercorns whole. And then quite a bit of salt. We'll taste this as it steeps. So it's essentially a vegetable stock is kind of like a tea, really. It will change over time, and because we've used a lot of celery here, I'm just going to take it easy on the salt to begin with, and then we taste as we go, and then when we're ready to strain all this, we'll finish the seasoning then. But that is a classic vegetable stock, in my humble opinion. Probably, yeah. What have we got? People used to run around your neighbourhood catching chickens, and presumably they put you in the chicken coop at night along with the chickens. Yeah, I forgot to change the camera. No, it's not for me. I've seen, like, it's a lot. It's kind of risky as well. Like, I mean, the food and restaurant industry is not necessarily the safest one in which to work. You might come across characters and a subculture that causes you problems if you get too caught up in it. Is what I would say about that. So a leek is what I'm cutting and cleaning. Yeah, but back with the chickens. They're not laying. Violet and Veruca are pullets, and it's gotten dark and cold, and so they actually haven't started. I've only had them for like 16, 20 weeks or something, and they've not laid yet, so I think we'll be waiting until spring. Love the people rather than the work, absolutely. Leek, yes. Some of it is for the stock, and then some of it is for the vegetable stew, which is going to look suspiciously like the stock that we're making. So tonight, it's really not a complicated proposition what we're dealing with here. Hello. So we've got 3 kinds of allium. Yeah, we've got a lot of flavour, is what I'm saying. And for my stocks at the moment, I've been playing around, and I tend at the moment not to boil the vegetable stock. So I bring it up to a simmer, let it sit, slow it down, and then let it sit for longer, unless I want to concentrate it, because it does seem to me a lot of the aromatics get knocked off with real severe boiling, and because I intend to use the whole lot of this within a week, I'm going to keep it like that. At least that's the plan. So, pumpkin from the backyard as well. What time is it where you are, Joe? I was wondering, how does it time for dinner on your front? Never, indeed, I think that's. And then, like when I was doing, what did I do? It was actually a couple of months ago. I was boiling it just to experiment for space saving to concentrate it, and then maybe put it in ice cubes or whatever. And then I was like, I use it so often that I kind of don't need to do that, and it tastes better. So, yeah. It's about 5 hours till breakfast. Well, that's one of the challenges of staying up late, is you sort of get hungry at times that you prefer not to be eating. I'm not being particularly careful with this pumpkin. I have so much pumpkin that I can be a little bit wasteful, I guess, if that's what you want to say. But again, being able to compost this kind of stuff, it's kind of removed, I won't say guilt, but it's like, oh, I have a useful purpose for anything that I don't use. Okay. Well, you know, I wonder, so we're sort of just leaning into the evaporative, to sort of leave it out in the open and keep it warm and let it do its thing. Interesting. So this is coming close. It's interesting reading recipes from, so I've done a series of comparisons from recipes from the 60s, the 70s, and then into the 2000s, and they can vary quite markedly. And I think this is one of the bigger, issues with cooking. A lot of people get freaked out by, not the old wives' tales, but the sort of, what's the word? There's a word for like a phrase, the sort of common knowledge. That's not right, is it? The done thing. Yeah, and actually sourcing. So we did, when was it, like 4 or 5 weeks ago? We were doing French, exclusively French, and spending time actually doing proper mother sauces, straight from Escoffier. And they're incredible, absolutely incredible. I think if I had a choice, so I've done cookery school for Indian cuisine, night school I mean, and French would be next on the list. Kitten Skitty, welcome. Shelley's not here yet. She is stuck in a meeting. It's tough. This is the other thing Joe say, like Shelley's IT. So you save your knees, but then you're stuck sitting down for like 12 hours in a row on meeting after meeting. It's a challenge. Good to see you. How I got you mixed up with, oh man, it was embarrassing. I got you mixed up with Dante the other night, and I was asking her all these questions about the US, and she's like, what the hell are you talking about? And then I worked it out. So that was, we got through it. We here, did I say, I can't remember, that we're coming to the US? We're coming to California for 10 nights in July. It qualifies as schooling. Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's the thing, like, the main reason I'd even be happy to work at a McDonald's. These are like, I like seeing behind the scenes, the production line, the processes, the method of these things. It's not that I want to work at Macca's as a career. I just want to see how they do it. Something's happening. Oh, Joe has gifted another sub to Kitten Skitty. This guy is going to send himself to the poorhouse. So it's very much appreciated though. I may even get a third Twitch payout, which will equate to something like, we think, 60 to 70 cents. If you combine all the hours that I've streamed, and the payout, I've gotten 2 payouts ever. So I've been streaming for 1 year and 2 months. If you average all of that out, I make on Twitch about 60 cents an hour, Australian cents. So there's some food for thought. Kitten, we're spending 6 nights in San Francisco, and then we're doing 4 nights in Napa Valley. At which point, so French Laundry is there. There's actually like 10 Michelin-starred restaurants in Napa. I didn't realize how upmarket this place is. Yeah, it's like people before, like there's, it's just, I get it now. Like now that I've actually looked into it, I say it's like, you know, if you're a Kardashian, do you go there or something? So there's a lot of fine dining. So we're gonna hit up at least one Michelin-starred restaurant because they're hard to come by here in Australia, and there aren't any in Canberra. And I'm not saying that you need to eat at Michelin restaurants to get a good meal, by no means, and in fact you pay a premium, it seems to me, for the bragging rights, but probably not going to be in Napa again for a long time, so we're going to be very poor by the time we get back. Southern side of California. It's huge. I just can't believe how big America is. I mean, America is pretty much the same size as Australia, but it's just so much more stuff there, and people. They're all over the place. It's just like everywhere you go, it's like people. And especially California. It's friggin' nuts. So we're going to fly into Los Angeles. Wow. So even now, sorry, I'm getting distracted. The celery, because this is just, you know, straight from the backyard. Bam, just like celery forward. You can taste the celery salt in it. It's excellent. That's what you want. It's almost to the point where I'm going to turn the heat off and just let it sit. Yeah, so we were going to do, like, I looked at Yosemite and it's like, wow, a lot of people go there at this time of year, it seems, or like, you know, just so many places to visit. And then it was just going to be a massive mission to fly all the way across to the East Coast and then to fly back home. That is a long flight. That is a long flight from the East Coast, so we're just keeping it simple. Oh yeah, larger. Indeed, it is. It's just, I just like looking at the street maps of San Francisco. It's like there's just, I mean, so, you know, Sydney or Melbourne, you do get that density there, say in the center of the cities, but there aren't too many other places where I'm like, in San Francisco, it's like there is stuff just everywhere. And fortunately, and this is the beauty of it, you know, having studied American politics for a long time, not having to deal with it like as a voter or as a citizen. I'm going to keep it that way. You're not going to see me you're not going to see me change my citizenship anytime soon, that's for sure. Joe lives on the opposite side of the 4 time zones from any city. All right, see ya, Bebo. Oh, thank you for stopping by. It's good to see you again. I'm glad that you're no longer grounded. Wish you all well, and definitely come back soon, because we always have good fun when you're here. North Carolina. Oh, that's right. So Raleigh was on my list. Of places to go. I've worked on and off with a guy from North Carolina in the USDA. Lovely guy. Oh, in Charlotte. Okay. Wow. Okay, I'm going to stop talking for a second and just make sure I'm on track here. I need to make a filling for these root straws. So we want shallots, mushrooms, balsamic. Okay. So food processor. Where the hell's my parmesan? Oh. Like tornado chasing. Like maybe it's cliche now. I don't know. It's on my list. I do have a cousin that lives in Wyoming, and so that was the other. It's like, could it go in through Colorado? Like, just too many places. Too many places. So we keep it simple. Recipe called for walnuts. We don't have anywhere using pecans, or if you're in America, pecan. No tornadoes in Charlotte. Well, that's good, Charlotte. Oh, nut down. Oh. I've seen some good photos, or good, but like Okies fleeing the Dust Bowl in the Panhandle. Yeah, just a lot of history that had nothing to do with me. Okay, so this is basically at the heat that it's about to start simmering. So I'm just going to turn the heat off for the moment. Oh, is it? Is that so? I'd never actually wondered. Because I deal with, well, Bebo's just left, but so in Florida at the moment they have citrus greening, or hualongbing, which is a bacterial disease, so Candidatus librobacter, which is spread by psyllids, and it's just causing serious problems down in Florida for their citrus groves, like their oranges. So I know a bit about that. Hold it at 180. Let's get the... What's 180 degrees Fahrenheit? Where's my phone? Hey Siri, what's 180 degrees Fahrenheit? Hello? Oh my god. 82 degrees. I think we might even be over that. Oh, hang on, I can switch this. No, that's Celsius. Oh, so close. That's actually spot on there, Joe. Bit more heat than... Cool. We'll turn the burner back on and just come back to that momentarily. Yeah, California, because you've got, so more closer to my expertise, I suppose. In California, you've got the Pierce's disease. So you've got the glassy wing sharpshooter. You've probably heard there's a blue wing sharpshooter as well. But there's from the psyllids and the cicada families. Anything that's basically like a sap feeding, like it sticks its dirty needle in the plant. And so Pierce's disease is caused by a bacteria called Xylella fastidiosa. Pierce's disease has been around in the US for a long, long time. Guy from Plank Rescue came and moved into this and took the leaves and cover fruits to check. Yeah, well, that's good to hear. I mean, like, politics aside, like, California takes it pretty seriously, as far as I know. And yeah, Pierce's disease causes a significant amount of sort of loss in the agricultural sector. From the Australian perspective, like apart from citrus, almonds, olives is the big one, but also Xylella, so the bacteria that causes Pierce's disease, is in theory can host in Australian native trees like our acacias. So like you see in the Australian wattle and gum trees, and we don't have it here. And I'm going to make sure it didn't come in. So, do what we can. Well, I don't really need to chop these much. You've not seen a wattle. I have. None of them. So there's autumn, so they flower in spring. I have a big one. Well, yeah. Unsurprisingly, we've got quite a lot of wattles around here. It's a smell that I wish people could have the chance to smell, because the flowers are like these little yellow pom-poms, and at the right time, like especially after a hot night in late spring, early summer, it's just this perfumed, yeah, like golden. I don't know how to describe it, but it's an incredible smell. About to hit 80. It's our national flower, I guess. Yeah, they're cool. Anyway, so they can be attacked by the same disease, we think. All right, what am I doing? So we've added, actually, those mushrooms shouldn't have gone in there. That's all right. So let's get a pan on. We're going to saute a bit of olive oil on. What's your favourite smell? Kitten Skitty, what's your favourite flower scent? Oh, the poppy, eh? Is it? I love avocados. Yeah, I've seen the bear on the flag. You know, presumably you get them in the Yosemite and the other parks and so on. I got this stage a little bit mixed up because I was too excited talking about wattle. Most citrus comes from Florida here, yep. Yeah, and that's the thing. So, I mean, a lot of these... I need a shallot. What's this going to be? Not not technically the same thing, so we're just going to use some spring onions. I might actually give them a wash. Pretty fragile little insects in some cases. It's a bit sad. How good are quails? They're weird little birds. Tasty too. A friend of mine, his dad used to, I was going to say grow quails, that's not quite the right word. Raise quails, that's the one. Japanese quails are really aggressive. On that side. State reptile is the desert tortoise. Yosemite. Yeah, it looks like an incredible place. I didn't realize how like popular, like busy it gets, and so at the moment they're doing like timed entry, and it was just going to be, I don't know. This won't be our last trip to the US. Let's put it that way. So, let's get these on. We're going to saute them for a little bit. That's not hot enough at all. Hello, Sooty. How do you hunt a quail? With a little... Hello, Sooty. Would you hunt quail? You want to say hello to the internet? Toti. He's a very friendly cat. Desert tortoise. Presumably our reptile, we have some pretty unique stuff here. Blue-tongued lizard would be on the list. That camera's a bit high. No, I won't. Like, definitely East Coast. Like, I would have preferred to go East Coast first, but Shirley doesn't like have as much leave, and also we didn't want to be just like insanely exhausted by the time we got back, because it's like from here to LA is, I think it's like 13 hours. So that'll be a mission. Oh, hey, you know what? Like going back, talking about like streaming difficulties and like challenges. Like I can cook pretty well now. Like generally when I cook, nothing goes horribly wrong. There was one stream where I did these like artichokes. It was an Italian recipe, and I don't know what the hell I did wrong. Like I just did not, either I got the wrong artichoke or I just didn't peel enough of it off, like to get the heart. But God, it was terrible. And the thing is, like, you know, like a kung show, you got to pretend that it was good. But I'm like, hey, this it feels like I'm chewing on a piece of bark here. What the hell? We're just almonds. Don't like a good almond. Okay, shrooms in here. Actually, on the almond front, this is what I've been... I love almond butter. So, like, it's just ground almonds, basically. So expensive for some reason. Well, actually, I know why, I guess, but that's what I'm about at the moment. Now, I'm returning to that artichoke recipe. I'm not done with it yet. I'm not going to be defeated by a stupid plant. More food for cats. How can such small animals be so hungry? Oh yes, and actually they don't look as appetizing now, but how is this for shrooms? So I've been experimenting, so they're not normally green. These are saffron, wild harvested saffron milk caps, which my friend brought over yesterday. We threw a few photos in Discord, but it is actually, I think, the first wild mushroom I've ever eaten. Obviously it's a bit of a dangerous game, but in this case, so let's just, so you see the orange, it's like a saffrony colour that sort of just the milk that seeps out. These were incredible. They've not dried how I've wanted them to, but we fried them up with some thyme and bay, and yeah, they were just harvested from a pine forest not far from where we are. Yeah, so ignore the green bits. Brilliant, really, really good stuff. Yeah, it's like some pretty gourmet ingredients for no dollars there. So I'm basically leaving these out for one night, and then I'm going to try and air dry them. But we have just so many more of these. Just growing randomly around the place. Okay, so this is all I want from that. Turn the heat off. Yeah, it's probably one of the better. So I was growing white oyster mushrooms last year. Takes up quite a bit of space, but yeah, that to be able to go. So for in Australia, the saffron milk cap, now's the time. And so we had it on because I've made some actually I finished it. Some German whole grain bread rolls. The last shallot from the garden, thyme, bay, salt and pepper and olive oil. It was an experience. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to put this in the food processor, going to waz it, and then we're going to go BRB and check on Shelley and see what her time frames look like. I can hear her talking down the hall. Pulse until very smooth. Cool. And so basically the paste that we make, we're going to spread on puff pastry and then twist it up, and then they kind of become like little puffed breadstick pastry, savoury pastry treat. Because we did have a couple of deaths a couple of years ago. The local government will put up signs, so the death cap mushrooms look very similar to I've forgotten what they're called, and so we did have some people die because if you eat a death cap, you basically you can't really come back from that unless it's a tiny amount. And it does happen occasionally around here, but so for saffron milk caps, there's no other mushroom around here that looks like that, that is deadly or really even dangerous. So yeah, but I'm not an expert on mushrooms, so you'll never get those mushrooms. You'll get morels though, you'll find them wild, I'm pretty sure. What else would you get up there? Then we have like the slippery jacks. which don't look nearly as appealing, but it seems like some European communities are really big. Excuse me while I was this. Needs a bit of oil. It is called death cap for a reason, that's right. Yeah, when in doubt, avoid it. So, yeah, like I said, I see mushrooms all the time. And then it's kind of like, ironically, and it's kind of a joke, around here at the Parliament House. So our parliamentary triangle, so I live in the capital, the national capital. And magic mushrooms grow a lot, like around the Parliament House. So it would probably help them, to be honest. Cool. Oh, so what did I do? We went to a degustation, a truffle-themed degustation last truffle season, and yeah, I'm not sure where they came from. I don't mind truffle. We actually had some white truffle chips, like what would you call them, like crisps, or like potato crisps, the other night. They kind of smelt like old foot. Hello, Whitey. But I enjoyed them. Okay. This is the thing about fungus, I suppose. All right. Let's go BRB, check on Shelley. When we return, we will move on to the next stage. We'll drain the stock, start the soup, get some puff pastry out, and mix up a Briartini. So we'll return very shortly. suspect. Food fact. Oh, I need to, yeah, going back to what you were saying about, yeah, exactly. My bot though, it says you claim it, but then it says I asked for it. But I didn't, did I? Kazakh cuisine, you sort of get this mash of European, obviously, you know, from the Asian steppes as well. Bit of the spices from the Silk Road. There's some good looking Kazakh stuff that I would like to try. I don't think I've ever eaten. Have I? Not knowingly. I've done some. We did an Afghanistan week a long time ago. So northern Afghanistan, some of the dumplings there are quite similar to Kazakh food. Yeah. No restaurants here in Canberra though. I'll tell you that much for free. Well, wrong hole. Okay. Let's. What am I doing? I think, Joe, one of the biggest challenges, you know, when I think about setting up stream is that, like, well, actually, I've shown this before, but like, so this is how I control it all. So benchtop is this camera and this camera, then stovetop obviously is the stovetop camera, that's just an iPhone. But then at the bottom here you can see that, so at the bottom of the screen we have like the progress bar that shows where I am cooking. That took so long to set up and it's kind of broken at the moment. And I set it up so long ago, I don't know exactly how I coded it. Bumper for the ads, different sets of lights, so these will trigger. That's some of the channel point redemptions. Start streaming, stop streaming, mute the mic. Julia Child video.
You know, there are over 200
Did that even work?
French recipes for potatoes. That seems like an awful lot.
I had a housemate for a while from Ukraine. Yes, and Turkish. Yeah, we did. Turkish is one of my favorite foreign cuisines. There's actually quite a lot of Turkish here where I am. Turkish food. Let's find some. Yeah, so it's called Touch Portal, which is the same thing as a Stream Deck. It's just that it's an iOS or Android app. So I just have this iPad that is dedicated to that, and I've just put some plastic clips here, and so that when I walk over this way, all I do is whack the button for stovetop, and then when I come back, I press benchtop, and it switches everything over. Yeah, and then I mentioned the microphone. So this it's actually an Australian brand, so Rode. So it's a wireless lavalier microphone, and that transmits to my gaming room, which is down the hall. This made a huge difference because before I just had like a little pod mic that sat here, and it wasn't ideal because I'm not always sitting there facing this direction. So that was a big a big change that I made. And then the light, you've seen the lights. I had these before I started streaming, so these are Philips Hue. My whole house is I have like over 80 IoT devices in here. So these were all here before I started streaming, and you can just by chance you can tie them into scripts with Touch Portal. So one of my goals was trying to get like a functional stream without spending too much money. And I'm basically, I don't think I've spent more than these lights, which are garbage, which you can't see. Probably less than $1,000 on gear. Yeah. And then this is a Sony ZV-1, which up until just before I was using an Elgato face cam up here, but Shelley got me this for my birthday. But unnecessary, it's an incredible camera. I just, like, it's amazing the zoom that you get out of it. But totally unnecessary. Oh yeah. Yeah, so in here, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 smart lights in here. Do I want 2? Nah. So just put this to the side and let it thaw. Yeah, that's the key, isn't it? The focus. So if the next thing, if I cared enough, would be to replace these little lights. I'm not going to move them. Are just like $10 LED USB reading lamps from Amazon. But I needed a fair bit of light coming directly down onto this cooking space. Yeah. Okay. Let's drain the stock. Wait, let's taste it first. That would be the smarter thing to do. And then I'm just using like pure, just vanilla OBS. And stream elements for the notifications, mostly. So that needs a little bit more salt, and it needs a bit of pepper. Now you could add, and because this is not high cuisine, right? Miso paste or MSG is your friend at this stage. It's Shelley.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome back.
Thanks.
How's your life?
Oh, you know.
Are you done for the day?
I think I need to for my insanity.
Well, how about we mix up some Briartinis?
Oh. What's in that?
Oh, it's basically a martini with jam.
Oh.
Like, so a berry martini, basically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm up for the challenge.
Alright. That's what we're doing.
May as well have wine in the intro.
Yep.
Good hard day, everybody.
That's tough.
It's fun though.
Oh yeah, green screen actually, Joe. Yeah, that's something I've not done.
Is that Joe DNS?
It is Joe DNS. In fact, you heard him in the background, so I jumped into his stream for the first time. So Joe DNS is here. He's just dropped, I don't know how many gifted subs. He's a madman.
He's delegated into the Twitch.
We've had Bebo Vomit. We've got Kitten Skitty, not Dante. We've had a whole bunch of people.
Wow.
It's good to see.
It's just like old times.
Yeah. You never know. with Twitch. Who's going to show up? Oh, I didn't change the... Another thing I was playing around with for a while was, because I have quite a lot of motion sensors, it's like, wouldn't it be better if every time I moved to the stovetop, it cut the camera across to there?
It would.
Yeah, it was a bit flaky, so
That sounds technical.
yeah. He dropped 6, so he's off to the poorhouse. And me and Jeff Bezos are gonna live the good life.
It's a very gratuitous man, that Jake.
Yep, it is. Okay. Oh, drive the moose. Okay.
So what's good after a long hard day is a freshly washed dressing gown.
I haven't done that for a while. Probably should.
Good shit.
Yeah, in the end, there's a plugin also where you can use voice commands to change scenes, but it's not awesome. So this, I'm pretty sure this was just like a martini.
Should have called it a jam-tini.
Well, so Briartini, gin, dry vermouth, sugar. So we'll use what?
Whoa.
And then Joe's subbed. He just can't get enough. I think he's sleep deprived as well.
Maybe
But
he's in round robin mode.
yeah.
Ah!
What?
I'm the only one who's getting my jokes about DNS.
Round robin DNS routing. How does it? Fill us in. And thank you for the sub.
It's basically like failover.
Right. It's like secondary DNS.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
I haven't used that term for a while.
No.
It's a bit
Which is, well, no, I mean, it's a good thing that you haven't had to. Nothing worse than... I remember when DNS cascades would take like a couple of days.
Oh yeah, you'd actually say please wait 24 to 48 hours for DNS to take effect.
Yeah.
It was the truth.
Yeah. And now sometimes it's instant.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So we've come a way.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll stop the nerd humor.
It's a double entendre.
It's a double entendre.
This calls for a teaspoon of powdered sugar. I've got simple syrup. It's what she means. Teaspoon of lemon juice, rose water. I think I have.
We do.
Raspberry jam. Okay. Oh, do we have... No, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use the plum jam. Yeah, that's right. My plum jam, if it's still good. It is. Forgot what I was talking about. Let's just make a cocktail. So it's 2 to 1. So we're making 2. Tanqueray. Origin of...
Music from
It is. This is World of Warcraft Tavern's music.
appropriate.
So some dry vermouth. This desperately needs to be used up. This Cinzano stuff is really, really dry.
Is it dry as a dead dongo's dinger?
Yeah. Now that's an Australian saying, you don't. Dead dongo's dinger.
Is that the saying?
That's what I call it.
Yeah, dead dingo donger.
Dead dongo's dinger. It was meant to be about darkness, or actually, oh yeah, that's right. The scene, the demo scene. Oh, why can't I open this? Come on.
What's that? Gin.
No, it's my simple syrup.
Maybe it's.
Why? Okay. We're going to change tack and go with the actual recipe. I miss the demo days. Presumably, Joe, you know Modern Vintage Gamer MVG on YouTube. If not, check him out. I suspect, I don't know if he's ever like said it publicly, but he would have been a scene member. All right, so this is plum jam, plum and cinnamon from Plums out the back. Yep, that's right. Rose water. This rose water's been a bit of an experiment because it still smells like rose water and it's pretty old.
I've had that since birth.
Yeah, so
Since like 2014.
last time we used it, it was for that medieval cookery, that white rose pudding.
Oh yeah, that was good. The rose pudding.
Yep. But yeah, if you don't know MVG, check him out. I think that needs just a bit more. Big on the homebrew sort of stuff, and wow, that took ages to build. They'd be annoyed at me if I was the bartender. That's another job that I don't want. We need a shelly cam.
Why?
Good question.
Who's asking?
It's old Joe DNS.
Oh yeah. Well, look, Joe. I'm sitting here in my pink dressing gown. I don't really have a gown.
That's how you get the real money, though, isn't it? MVG, Modern Vintage Gamer. It's a good colour.
You should have a bit thing for like 1,000,000 bits. Shelley comes on stream. And,
1,000,000 bits, we do a hot tub stream with Shelley. If only I still had the hot tub.
And if only Shelley was willing to do that. And it wasn't the dead of winter. Well, not even winter.
No. We're going to get a minus...
Winter is coming.
Well, we're getting down to -1 on Thursday, I think it is. So, get ready for that. Let's see. It's nowhere near as sweet as I was expecting. It's actually a little bit tart. Should actually just try that, which is good. I don't like sickly sweet. Okay. So it's that Cinzano that really cuts through it. There is our briar berry
Wow.
martini. It's actually going to be a good use for all that jam that I made. No, not bad. The myth can go not off, but like it's not like a whiskey or it's not like a whiskey or like a pure spirit.
That's zangy.
I just got some Briar. Didn't double strain it. Yeah, who was it that came on while I was making cocktails? Like, double strain it! Ah! Never seen that guy again.
He was disgusted.
Here's compromise. Play it, takes two of you, get 20 subs on one stream. That actually would be like, that'd be walking around money. Usually has to be on camera. Sometimes you can see her arm. So that's got to be worth something.
I've been on camera all day. On calls all day. This is my only camera free time.
Yeah, because there was that time. Well, I was looking at that like 24/7 the sleep streaming.
Oh yeah.
Channel. Just like the Truman Show.
That would be hilarious if it was me on the sleep stream. Now that's a place where I can provide entertainment.
We'll hook up with a microphone for your chewing of your grinding of the teeth.
And screaming.
Yeah, it'd be like a horror movie. Oh man, I almost forgot. So I'm going to put some MSG in this. So at Joe's suggestion, we have we kept this sitting at 180 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh yeah, I can't remember, is Joe a chef?
Was.
That's right.
Now he plays Ratchet and Clank. And that's pretty much all I know. All right, let's try that. Yep. Oh man, that celery just makes a world of difference. So
It
nice.
just smells like celery out here when I walked out.
Yeah.
So what are you making it?
So this is just stock. But it is for the root stew, which actually is almost the same as the stock recipe. And then we're doing kind of like puff pastry breadsticks with mushroom, shallot, and balsamic filling.
Wow.
Yeah.
I only made breadsticks the other day.
Oh yeah.
It was an accompaniment to something.
Well, you should have.
You know, there's a cocktail that kind of tastes, there's lime juice in there too, isn't there?
Lemon juice, yeah.
Kind of tastes a bit like a Cosmo.
Kramer.
A cosmopolitan.
I really like that touch of rose.
Yeah, it's like a got the rose tangent. Otherwise, it would be a Cosmo.
Okay, I don't know if I've ever had a Cosmo.
Kind of like a raspberry.
Ooh. Pretty sure it was like bigger than 90s.
It was Sex in the City. That was what they always drink. It's popularised the Cosmo.
Is that so?
When they
Guess
go
that's
out
why I never had one.
for cocktails on a weeknight at 11 p.m., you order a Cosmo.
Yeah. That's the other observation we're making about America is it seems like if you live in New York, dinner at 9 is a normal thing. And then meet up for drinks at like 10:30 or 11 or whatever. It's like, when do you go to bed?
Never sleep.
They never sleep. Or does the New York day start really late? Because screw that. Joe plays lots of things. I believe it. All right. So the root veggie stew. Leeks. Cook them. There's almost nothing to this. So I'm just going to cut the leeks up a bit further. Using that chopping board. I got some new chopping boards. I don't mind them, but they're not my favourite. So leeks, we did the grilled leeks with the parmesan last week for the Elder Scrolls recipe, and I'd mentioned at the time that so looking at ancient Roman cuisine, leeks come up all the time, and there's a very similar recipe where it's like wrapped in cabbage leaf and then it's barbecued, and so you would have garum or some other sort of vinegar and salty vinegar dressing that goes over the top, and then you wrap them up and they're kind of like bites, I guess. So that I'm keen to try. Olive oil. I actually haven't met anyone who has been to New York who's come back and said that they liked it. Your friend's another friend of mine who lived there for quite a while. It's like, yeah, another friend actually, she didn't have a good time.
I feel like we would really like it.
Yeah, but I wonder how much is like that, I don't know, like pop culture kind of fantasy of, I'm keen to go.
I think it's because we're less interested in that. I mean, same
Yeah.
with our current upcoming trip. Like, it's not about that. It's about experiencing like the real culture and, you know, not necessarily overblowing it with touristy stuff and seeking out, you know, things people aren't typically gonna.
It's big, friggin' big city. Joe loves New York. Well, there you go. Did you have dinner at 10 and go and meet friends at 11:30? Well, I suppose if you worked in hospitality, you would have. It's a microcosm of the world. And just looking at, and that was the main thing that I've been reading recently about New York is, yeah, just it's like this bomb of cultures. Like they're saying, I haven't had any Kazakh cuisine. Presumably you could find some in New York. I'm just going to check my the Apple TV. I don't. We'll just go BRB for 1 second. Make sure I just head off a technical issue. Oh yeah, the Shelley Dancer. That was it's literally the only cocktail that I've ever actually. Because I mean, like food, obviously, there's a finite combination. It's about ratios, but yeah, the Shelley Dancer was a win. So we're just going to soften these leeks. Maybe have the heat up just a little bit too high then, but that's okay. Yeah, no, New York, after reading, every day and then studying American history, it's like obviously East Coast is kind of where it's at for, getting properly in touch, I suppose, with what I've read about. It is weird, and it must be weird for Americans as well, I think, in a way. And this is maybe part of, without veering too far into politics, kind of where the problem, I guess, America kind of finds itself in now. It's like you're caught between this, good guy, good power, critical player, the preeminent and only superpower in the world. And so you look at the Balkans, you look at Somalia, you look at Afghanistan, you look at Iraq, the first and the second. It's like, and now and Ukraine is highlights it, because what do you do if you look back, to World War One, and then certainly World War Two? If it wasn't for Pearl Harbor, at what point do you step in militarily? People kind of expect America to do the right thing, but what does that mean? It means different things for different people. It's a very, I don't envy it.
Well, particularly after Iraq and Afghanistan, they're obviously hesitant.
Oh yeah,
to just go and do
it changed everything. Like, the weirdest thing about 9/11 is that America went from the country that everyone, I remember in primary school, it's like, if you're anyone, who knew about stuff overseas and you were able to talk about American culture, like basketball was a big thing, Ninja Turtle, all that stuff, like, trying to think of some sitcoms from then. You get the idea. And then as soon as... Seinfeld, yep. Happy Days, Simpsons. Simpsons kind of escaped that.
Oh, you mean like 80s?
Yeah, 80s and 90s. And then with 9/11, which was, terrible. I mean, our country stopped for that. And it had nothing to do with us. And then, that tragic event and the tragic things that happened after that weirdly left America in so all of a sudden people were talking about, I want to go to America, to I want to go to Europe.
Yeah.
All of a sudden Europe became the sexy thing.
I think because unlike Pearl Harbor, where there was an actual war happening, in this instance they started a war in reaction to that achievement event like that.
Yep.
Instead of
in the wrong place.
It being the catalyst. Yeah, exactly. And under false pretenses.
Yeah. And so, out of the what should have been this sort of like unifying, coalition of the willing, like the thing that is now uniting everyone against Russia, could have been 9/11. Could have been that.
Yeah, the effort that could have been diverted to this much more needed.
Yeah, and it just flipped on its head, and then all of a sudden America, everyone's like, oh, what's the deal with those guys? Bizarre, and a real shame. New York is a place where you can find a Pakistani cab driver who's no issues taken to a Palestinian to a Hebrew temple. Yeah. And so, I've got to say, even though our the city Canberra where we live is nowhere near the size of it, the power of Australia is kind of like that. Like, our city is homogenous. I'm as likely to get a Nepalese driver as I am a Pakistani,
or even an Australian.
Yeah, or an Australian kid driving around.
With the heater turned up to.
Yeah. It's just, there's no difference between the people. I think part of it is because our city is quite small. So like we're talking what, like
I'd
300,000.
say it's the same everywhere.
Largely, yes. Yeah.
Also, in Melbourne and Sydney, the larger places.
Yep.
It's almost like different to America, where even here, like a small city, we're even more like that instead of the opposite.
Yeah.
It doesn't become backwards.
Yeah.
Well, there's obviously places, but still.
Yeah. There's no sections of our city that is like, this is for Jews, this is for Pakistani, this is a Lebanese thing. In Sydney, it's different in Sydney.
Well, but that's not more. This is where you go. That's more people, like-minded people, like just developing the area.
Yeah, and your family is there, and so and actually, like to say that, and again, it does come down to like there's a scale here because in the suburb that we live in, there are actually quite a lot of Greek and Italian, like we would say WOG, like that's not a pejorative term in Australia. It not like so here we have, but our suburbs are so small, like you don't really, but that neighbour is Greek, these two aren't, but you go down the street there, all are Italian, or well, not all.
Longer-term residents.
Yeah, longer term, and because they've been in the suburb longer than I have, so 7 years, and Chinese as well, like, and so going to San Francisco, when we do, if you look at San Francisco, you have a very, very similar combination of immigrants in the early years. So like Chinese to Australia during the gold rush, like that is, the Chinese have been here almost as long as, well, pretty much as long as European people.
Yeah.
And so you like, I have no, my primary school, the elementary school, we had over 70 different nationalities. So you don't know, and because you're not used to running into enclaves, it's just really normal, and we've talked about this before on the stream. It's like, and it's a good thing too, because otherwise we'd have really, really, really boring food.
Yeah, I saw a meme the other day. It was like, England, we're gonna like conquer all these nations to take their spices, and then it's like British food, and it's all bland.
Yeah. I mean, the only good that, like, I mean, sort of, British Indian food is separate from Indian cuisine. Both are very good. So there's a good outcome. Joe was told he was anti-American for saying the Iraq War was wrong and protesting before it happened as it happened. Well, you're right. That was it. Pretty much the stupidest thing that I've ever seen in my life, and it was just like watching a slow motion train wreck, and we went as well. It was just a disgrace. A real shame. A lot of people died that didn't need to, and
a lot of people got fucked in the head.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just real stupid. And in hindsight, it's easier to show that. But at the time, like you're saying there, Joe, pretty obvious at the time. It's like, guys, it's not going to end well. Like, there's going to be tears before bedtime. For even just for the simple fact of the matter that you're in the wrong country, and now we have to go too for some reason. So the tensions between like America now is like the world police, or the good guy that stands America is so important. The Jeffersonian democracy, the system and the ideas are critical to what, if you're saying it on Twitter, there's the Western idea. It's an oversimplification and doesn't do it justice. America is good news, but I think for everyone who's not American, you sort of, it's kind of like, I don't know, I don't have a big brother, but like, you sort of look up to someone to do the right thing all the time. And is that an unreasonable thing to think that America's never going to make a misstep. You know, they're never going to do anything wrong. You know, they're right all the time. Clearly, it's not the case, and so now America has to deal with this idea that people can see that, in large part, America's position in the world is through happenstance. Like, part of it is luck. It's the luck, you know. The city on the hill, all of these things sort of happened. The land, the resources. Some of it is by chance. And don't invade someone for no reason. You could have just gone to Congress and said that.
It's almost like they are having that identity crisis, though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like the Trump MAGA movement.
Without a doubt.
The America First.
Yeah.
I guess that history manifests itself in that way. Like, I can kind of fully understand why they would feel like that.
Yeah.
But then equally, you have those people that are like more globalist thinking and stuff, and see themselves more as like the pinnacle of what should be right in the world. And you know, if a country can't pay as much for NATO, well, you know, that's fair enough. And, like, you know, that's why we'll be the bigger person and like step up when other people can't, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They can.
And to some degree they should, but this is the problem, isn't it? Like, you think of the Balkans.
And then you're like, we've been doing this forever, and what are they getting out of it?
Exactly. Like, no, like, and that's the thing.
Like, 'cause
Like,
there's no world peace. Like, because it's not like that's, you know.
I'd be
if
annoyed.
it was like, well, cool, we'll go and do all this stuff, but at least it's calm in the world.
yeah.
But
No. The Pax Americana. Yeah, I'd be annoyed if I was American because, and this is part of why Trump was a powerful, because it's like, you know, what about all America, you know, just like bring it all back in. So think Woodrow Wilson, this sort of so the isolationist idea. It's like, you know, get your own house in order, get everyone in America happy, then we'll think about doing stuff elsewhere. But
walk and chew gum at the same time. Wasn't he the one that said that?
I don't know.
Yeah, he was like, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. Was it him?
Maybe. Doesn't sound like it will, but it could be. Yeah.
Anyway, sidetrack.
And yeah, I was like, and I do actually talk politics, but yeah, Trump, it's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in the world.
But yet it does make so much sense.
But it does make sense, yeah. And you sort of got that, like, you know, and obviously you've seen that with the talking heads. It's like, you know, Reagan obviously is this. So it's a cult of personality. Schwarzenegger in California as well, although he seemed to be, like, actually paid a bit of attention.
The thing I don't get about Trump, though, is like I said, I fully understand the reasoning behind the feeling, but I don't understand why he's the person that's the answer. But I guess it's because he was the only one, though, that was talking like them, and they just kind of ignore that he's the complete reason that they live how they live. And he's part of the problem. It's crazy.
It is very strange.
But the sentiment behind it all is fully, like, yeah, I mean...
Yeah. And like, to take it a few steps back, like what America is doing for Ukraine now feels to me, and I'm not a historian, it feels so like in World War II, Britain and France would have been all over if it hadn't have been for the US. And up until Pearl Harbor, the amount of stuff, like the Liberty ships, they were like sending 1 or 2 a day. America saved them. Like financially, like materials wise. And then Pearl Harbor happened and it changed the picture. And so Ukraine now, it's like America can dump billions and billions and billions of dollars somehow. Like, I mean, it's just an inconceivable amount of money to us to send to this. Like, presumably didn't really care too much about Ukraine up until recently. But you're still in the position to...
Yeah, but I mean, they were, I think, definitely caring about it, and I think that's why, even though they're putting money in, like, the people on the ground are able to sustain it for so long because of America building it up and training them and
Yeah.
stuff.
But without sending Americans in to do the fighting, which is the right thing. Like, I mean, this is the problem. It's like, do you spend that much money plus thousands of American lives, or do you just spend heaps of money and then just hope that it resolves itself before?
Yeah, someone's got to do something.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't. It'll be the Ukrainians and the Russians. Like, something will happen.
But it can't go on. Like, everyone will die soon.
Yeah.
There won't be any people left.
And so Tigray and Sudan. I'd mentioned Somalia before. Boomshine is here. Excellent. If you think of the Rwandan genocide, compare Serbia and Rwanda. So you have, and it doesn't matter like the side of politics, but so Democrat. So you bomb the Serbs to stop genocide there, and then you have this Rwandan thing, which you don't step in, and a tragedy, an absolute tragedy, and it's like. But can America go, what the hell? Like, Americans don't know a lot of Americans don't know where Rwanda is, or Somalia is, or Serbia is. Why is it their responsibility to have to go and then they didn't do it? And a lot of people...
I think that's what I was getting at before. It's like this identity crisis between your core fundamental ideals.
Yeah.
But then you're ultimately, though, like, the taxpayer's interest and the citizen's interest
Well, they're stuck.
should be equally considered. And
Yep.
like you say, that's why it's like, well, why...
It's
It's not like anyone disagrees with those values, but equally, why do we have to be the ones that keep paying for it?
Exactly. And then, and so, I feel sorry for America, because you're stuck in this position where you're the only ones who can stop this kind of stuff. And people are going to hate you one way or the other. And so it's like, well, if we're going to send our kids to die over here, and then people are going to, throw blood at the president or whatever, it's like... So it's an identity crisis. It's like, you can't... You've got to be one or the other. And, I'm glad it's not us. And Americans, and that's the thing, it's amazing but that said though, Joe, if you took a random sample of Australians, they wouldn't know where half of this was stock in.
Hey, how about this? Maybe there needs to be like a world NATO.
Well, and so that's what. So the UN, and so you go.
Well, yeah, true, I guess.
But
more how it has. It's very much more. The first thing I think about NATO is, well, they all band together if one of them is attacked.
Yep.
And I know the UN is too, but that's more bureaucratic or whatever. Like in that instance, there's already legislation or whatever in there, and they will attack you if you attack any of them.
Yeah.
It needs to be as clear cut as that, really.
Yeah.
And the ones that sign up to it, and then if you don't, well, the whole world is going to come if you do anything.
And it could be, we might be seeing a change, this seems like, even though it's a tragic set of circumstances, it seems like, it's kind of refreshing in the sense, and I don't mean that in a flippant kind of way, but it's like, it's not gone Russia's way, and actually the exact opposite of everything that they were after seems to be happening, from what we know from the media that we have. But yeah, so you have NATO, you've got the UN, prior to that you have the League of Nations. So we've tried a couple of times, and it's never stuck. But NATO...
I think because they don't go far enough.
Well, it's more because there's only one country that's a problem for NATO. Like, the UN, it's everybody. We deal with this in the FAO. We deal with the.
Well, that's true. Because if
Jamaican
you're all members of this WATO, let's call it
WATO.
If you're all then inclined to go and fight them, but not everyone agrees with that, it's just
Exactly, and now it's going to be. So we're seeing that a little bit now with Sweden and Finland looking to join, and I'm confident that will happen. And this is like I said, the exact opposite. It's like the reflex reaction that Russia was trying to avoid is happening. The only one standing in the way is Turkey, and you better believe that they're the ones in NATO that have the least standing, because they're not really It's a
Well, I
weird,
wonder
weird
they
country
have
to have in NATO.
They have the confidence to join NATO, I guess, because they recognise all that power of the US. Like, if you compare.
Yeah. But with the combined forces of France and Britain and Germany, you know, there's 3 nuclear powers there for you. Yeah, so maybe there is a silver lining to all of this. Dingbottom is here. Excellent. And yeah, and Australia is part of, I mean, the good thing about being in Australia, and actually now that Dingbottom's here, so we just unearthed this morning the enlistment photos of my grandfather, so Dingbottom's dad, in World War II. So the like profile photos for his enlistment card, found them this morning.
Wow.
In the National Archives. Yeah. I don't have the answers.
You know, I don't think this was intentional, but it's funny to talk about a World of War on a World of Warcraft.
Well, there you go, and this is it. Maybe we need to take a look at Azeroth to see.
Well, yeah, where the answers lie?
It could be. Often these ideas are kind of prototypical or sometimes facsimiles of, you know, real world conflicts. I think in the case of World of Warcraft, maybe not so much, but and we're also part of Five Eyes, so like we play a fairly large role in the intelligence side of things. Yeah. But you know, with all that said, and I've said this a number of times in streams, a pretty peaceful time to be alive. Are we buying M1 Abrams tanks from the US for some reason? Yeah. Are we buying nuclear submarines from...
Not the French.
Yeah, not the French. Yep, we're doing that. You know.
Building did you see we're building a direct subpath between here and America?
A what?
Like some submarine tunnel through the Pacific Ocean.
A submarine tunnel?
It was something like that.
Is it an Elon Musk thing?
I don't think I mentioned it because I assumed you would have seen it.
No, that's it.
Find the term.
Yeah, indeed. You got to understand though, like we aren't. How best to describe it? So if you look at New Zealand, they don't have an air force, and they don't really have a navy, and we should kind of be in that boat as well, pun intended, because we're not used to anyone really, like the amount of forces that we can feel. I've seen pictures of war games, and Australia is represented as one pip. You know, so you spend $1 billion or you spend $10 billion. When push comes